Thank you for tuning in for True Print for Life. I'm your host, Christina Vera.
And I'm your co-host, Maylin Sambois.
So, Maylin, what were you about to say?
I was about to start talking to her. She's like, let's just start recording.
Let's just record. Sometimes you can't overthink things. No, you just have to do what you do. And you were saying we're talking about scaling.
Yes. So we eventually, coming soon, guys, we're going to be starting a series and we'll actually have some online learning on this, on how to scale your nonprofit, because we have had, the opportunity to start from zero all the way to where we are having a center. So I think that is coming. And a lot of people keep asking us, right?
Yeah.
Like every time we meet with somebody, well, how do you do it? And what's the first step should I take? And I'm thinking this is a whole thing.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that. But we're in the season right now that even in addition to having a nonprofit and being in Columbus City School Board and, working, we also are looking at how do we even scale now our other business, right? True Print.
Right.
For business, right? So how do we even get to that piece? Because we've done it well with Femergy. Now it's time to start preparing that.
Yeah.
But then that made me think about how many people have an idea in their heart and they're afraid to start it because they think they have to go full force. Like I have been listening to people say, I just got to leave this job and go sink or swim. Even if I go homeless, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to go out here and do it.
You're crazy.
And I have to tell you, because I had this conversation with somebody the other day. I said, listen, I get people tell you got to have no backup plan and just go do it and it's going to happen. But I can tell you after 10 years, over 13 years of doing this together, that has been a lot of work.
Yeah.
A lot of sacrifices.
Right.
We have lost friendship, relationships, all kinds of things, right? On building something that we believed in.
Yeah.
So thinking about that, I was thinking that you don't have to leave the job that you're in to start your thing.
Right.
And I know you have something coming up to talk about this.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to find it. Because to your point, because we have been asked that so many times, we're going to kick off part of that series on March the 13th. So if you are local here in Columbus, Ohio, and I think we'll probably try to look at how we can offer this as a virtual option, maybe as a part 2 for those who are listening that maybe are out of state. But on March the 13th, we're going to be having a session called Activate.
Yes.
And that's going to be an opportunity for entrepreneurs to really lean in on, how you can create the goals, you can create.
Nonprofits.
Yeah. A small business, nonprofit, but essentially how do you take that goal, that vision and turn it into action? Because to your point, a lot of people kind of get stuck in that idea phase, which is great to have ideas, but understanding that, okay, you got to start this work and you have to start it, in increments. So on that day, we're going to be able to start talking about having entrepreneurs kind of bring, what are some of your goals and how do we create action steps to moving that work forward? Yeah. And so that's going to be the first kind of kickoff to that particular series. And then to follow, we're going to be looking at that membership that you kind of alluded to, and certainly looking at ways that we can start creating more think tank style opportunities for folks.
Masterminds.
Yeah, because I think Maylin and I have been very blessed to be able to have met each other because we're both, we have different strengths. And I think, oftentimes that one of us will come up with something and the other one's like, all right, this is how we're going to do it, or vice versa. And so sometimes that's what the missing piece is. You might be a visionary, but you are not an implementer. Or maybe you can get it done, but you just don't know where to start because you have a hard time envisioning things that you don't see in front of you, or that there's not a clear plan. So I think a big part, whether you're in business for yourself or you're working for someone else, you got to be able to create actionable steps, actionable strategies that are going to get you to your ultimate goal.
That's true. And that's what I was thinking about. So I'm so glad you mentioned this. So definitely want people to come to that. And I started thinking, right, like if you don't know right now, but there's something in you that you want to do, right? And it could be small, like I want to help people. Okay, great. But I have no idea how I want to help people. Then what you should probably start is trying out a couple of things. Try and error are the best ways. Like for our programs, for girls and women, we expose them to different careers. And early on, a girl could tell you, I want to be a doctor. And then we did like a nursing series. And she's like, yeah, this is not for me. I don't like this. I don't like that. I'm going to go into like computer science. I was like, all right. But you know what? They knew that early. And they didn't have to waste money in college trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
So for me, I didn't have that opportunity to try things out. Like I went for a degree And because a degree was not available at the college at the time, I had to pick another one. I said, you know what, you're going to do this and finish this. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter that I got the degree. Yes, because I have a bachelor's, but it doesn't really matter what you did it on because they just look at, do you have a bachelor's? So don't kill yourself if you're in college right now trying to figure out, is this degree, if I don't have the right degree, am I going to survive? Absolutely, you will. And I promise you that if you are a person that can have relationships with people, if you have the right mentorship and right connections, you will get the job that you need. Because employers right now, because we hire people all the time, and we're looking at like, okay, what's your degree? Okay, what have you done? So experience, your degree, and sometimes if you don't have a degree, it could help you. You know, it doesn't hinder you because it's not the end all be all. So that's one. So definitely like, okay, if you go to school, what are you doing? If you are out here in a job and you're like, I know this is not what I want to do. I want to do something different, but you don't know what it is. I think you need to go, and I share this with someone, you need to go into the exploration phase.
Right.
This is the fun part. Like, you know, if you like working with girls, Femergy is here. Maybe come and volunteer one day. You can see this is what you want. Because maybe after one session, you're like, yeah, not really. I thought I did.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you like working with patients in hospitals. Go to Children's Hospital or a hospital near you and just go be a volunteer. So find maybe 3 things that you want to try, that you feel like you like, and then go try them out as a volunteer. Because how we started was volunteering.
Yeah.
If you go all the way back to the beginning, how did we start? Volunteering at everything. Do you remember that?
I do remember. We went to, you know, and I think part of that exploration phase that you highlighted is, you know, about even if you don't have nobody to go with, you could go. Like, go to the event, go to the networking event, go to the, you know, the gala, go volunteer, because ultimately being in those different spaces, you will start to get a clearer and clearer vision as to what you truly are passionate about, and building the relationships to help you bring that vision and that idea to real life. It's going to be critical, and it's not always going to be people you know. It's not going to be your family always that has the ability or the interest in supporting you. You know, you might see those memes and those posts all the time. Like, you would think, you know, all your friends and your family are going to support you, and maybe they do. Maybe you have a really solid foundation of support, which is amazing. But the reality is whatever it is, it's typically going to be someone you don't know that's going to help you kind of move your business or move your career forward. And the only way you're going to be able to, you know, position yourself to do that is by going to those, not going to everything, but being strategic, as Maylin said. 3 things. Yeah, like
we did like 20.
Look at your calendar and see like, okay, does this event, do I think this event is going to attract the type of people that I, A, want to learn from, B, want to be around, C, you know, that could, you know, that I can learn something. So just being very, very intentional even about what you're signing up to be a part of.
Absolutely. And it's something that you like, right? Don't do it because of what people say. Do it because it's in your heart. We have definitely been an incubator, I would say, for a lot of the ideas in Columbus. And I say that because a lot of the people that volunteer with us have started their own thing. Like, they found a passion in what we did. They saw how we did some things, and they say, you know what? And it's not a competition. Like, by all means, we're so grateful because they're serving a demographic that we are not serving because we have an age, right? We serve 6th grade to 12 and then women 18 and over. You know, this group particularly went and served 5th graders and 4th graders, right? Because that's the age that they saw that they were passionate about that. And they started their own nonprofit, and they're doing really well. And in the beginning, they needed a lot of mentorship. Happy to give it. We met with a couple nonprofits at the beginning too that were starting, and some did something, some didn't, but we shared with them what we knew. So because when you're confident in your own gifts, you're not afraid of guiding others. And I'm so blessed that we're confident and we have a mindset of abundance, that we have been able to share, knowledge with others and let them do what they want to do with it. We have shared funders. We have connected them to resources. And even we don't talk a lot anymore. We don't see these people a lot as, you know, we know that we planted a seed in them and we supported them to flourish. And that's them, right? So for you right now, as you're thinking, what do I want to get involved with? Maybe you want to serve a certain demographic. Maybe you have an idea for a program, but you're like, I don't want to go through all the paperwork of doing a nonprofit. I just told a business this. I saw a grant for a particular thing this woman does. And it was about $700,000 grant. And I sent it to her. I said, hey, I think this is something you should look into. She's a business. She said, well, I don't know, it's a grant. I said, well, did you know that you could, as a business, go after a grant and you can use a nonprofit as a fiscal agent. No idea, right? I had to Google how to explain it because I know it, but I had to like really explain
like a fiscal agent.
Like a fiscal agent, right? And some organizations charge you a fee for that.
Right.
So we're going to start looking at a way of how we can support some programs, not everybody, because it has to be in alignment with us.
Right.
But how do we support some programs that they don't want to be a nonprofit yet? They're going to try something else, because the least thing you want to do is start a nonprofit for an idea that you have and you haven't even tested if it's going to work. You don't even know there's a need in the community for it. Like you're just wasting time and resources at this point, right?
Because we tested Femergy for 2 years before we officially became a 501c3.
We did. With our own money.
Yeah, our own money, and it didn't even have a name. We was just out here.
We just called it whatever we call it.
We were just like...
Coffee shop, stuff talk.
Yeah. And that went on for 2 years and
of
research and testing stuff out.
And we didn't know at that time that we could approach a nonprofit and get some grants and things. We had no idea.
Yeah.
Because it's what we didn't know. But right now, this organization, because I know the person particularly, she has been part of the board. She has been part of the organization. I said, listen, if you look into this and there's a possibility, would definitely let me know, because we can look into how could we become a fiscal agent for you, right? And there's a fee that comes with that, but it's just for the management of the thing, because it's a large thing. Right. This blew her mind. I mean, it was a text conversation, it was a voice thing, and it blew her mind. She had not thought about that. She's like, you know what? I'm actually gonna start looking for grants like this now, because there's an opportunity there, and I think, and I learned this when I was part of another nonprofit on a board. And I learned about this organization that does that in the community. Like, if you have an idea of a project, don't start your nonprofit yet. Try it out first. Yeah. And then they'll manage everything. And then if you say that, you know what, there's a need, it works out, it's good, then you can go file. Now you have now you have record to prove that this is actually something that's viable and that you can get funding for. Right. So just an idea. So that's one thing, right? Don't jump into a nonprofit right away until you test the product. Same thing with the business. Right. You say, do you make the best cupcakes in the world? Well, girl, if you do, I'm here at 49 South Grant Avenue. You bring some cupcakes here, I'll give you my feedback, right? Like, as you have any idea, you make clothing, you do hair, you do nails, test the market before you invest all of this into that. Yeah, it's just like, be locked in, but don't put everything in one basket. Like, you got to be laser focused on, like, if this is your one thing and you're serious about it, lock in, but understanding that that's in waves, right? And not feeling like you're, like you said, you don't need to go file and go get all these things done, and you're not even really sure yet. Like, because everybody wants to be in business until they have to run a business. And I'm like, what are you doing with that LLC? Yeah, this is like, an LLC is the paper. Being in business is the paper, but running a business, that is a whole different type of mindset, responsibility, discipline. It's definitely not. And people say, can anybody be an entrepreneur? I don't think so. No, it's just my personal opinion. I mean, I'm not an expert. Actually, that's true. You can be. Anybody can be. You can be a unicorn. Anybody can be an entrepreneur. Can you be a successful entrepreneur? Right. That's the difference. That's the difference, because it's just not. Some people, like, the discipline piece is really challenging. You can get up at any time you want to, and you can, but if you don't get out here and make your business shake, you're not going to have no money. You're not going to be able to pay your bills. You're not going to be able to make payroll. You're not going to be able to build a brand and build a following. Like, you will work harder, in my opinion, at least in the front end. Reinvest. I mean, to the point where you just, like, you're not making no money. Like, I was talking to this lady who's very successful, started her own business, and she told me that her and her daughter both ended up having, one, she lost her job, and the other one decided, I don't know, something happened where they were both unemployed, and they were going into business together, and they actually had to move into a 1-bedroom apartment together. It was a mother-daughter combo, and the daughter, I think, has like 3 kids. So she was like, we moved in together, and we were like, we're going to have to make this work. And, and they did. Now, years later, they're very successful. But the discipline it took for them to, like, downsize their lifestyle to be able to invest every dollar that they were initially making to make their business grow,
that's a discipline that most people don't talk about. You see the final destination of a lot of these brands and organizations not understanding all of the reinvestment, all the sacrifice, all the no's that started. I mean, we haven't even hit like the ultimate level of what we want to hit for both of our companies, like whether it be, you know, our organization or our consulting firm, and understanding that, I mean, this has been over a decade of us serving, reinvesting, and the fact that we still don't have those assets in a way that for us, we talk about this all the time, like there's a certain number, right? Not Femergy. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about our consulting firm.
Well, for both, because if you think about the people that succession plan, right? So we have worked on passion. We have given everything we got, from our savings to our time, and we've done it with, you know, hard, yes, but we've done it. But nobody's gonna come here and work for passion, because passion doesn't pay your mortgage. No. So you're gonna come. You can love us all you want to, but if you want to work with us and there's no check, you may not want to be here. You know, you can come for a couple hours, but you ain't gonna be here full time just for passion, and that's understandable.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's important as folks are navigating that entrepreneurial pathway. And even if you decide that you want to stay in corporate America or whatever the career path is, understanding that there is sacrifice and discipline, and you have to determine how bad you want that promotion, how bad you want that company. And if you don't, that's okay.
And what comes with a promotion?
Oh, absolutely.
A lot of people want to be in leadership and they want to be out here with the C-suite.
But have no people skills.
But you have no people skills, and you also don't have the time. So you want to be, you know, you want to be out here enjoying your life, but then you want to be a person that manages $1 million companies. You have to think about it. Sometimes those companies, they're going to need you there to be at certain times.
24 hours a day. Yeah,
like it's not that easy.
No.
Don't believe the hype on Instagram. Okay, I'm so tired of the hype.
Some people follow the check aspect of positions. And to your point, like to be in leadership in most corporations, you are in leadership because you can troubleshoot, because you can be available pretty much around the clock.
Put fires out.
You can put fires out. You're forward thinking. You're able to communicate. You're able to, you know, lead. And, you know, oftentimes people are applying for jobs based on credentials. And the reality is there's a lot of additional skill sets that go into that.
Don't look at that job.
Don't look at that. It's just because I have been flabbergasted if some of the folks that I've met over the years that are in leadership positions, but they're just disrespectful, or they don't know how to read the room, or they don't know how to let things go.
And they don't care
forward. No, because somebody gave them the title. And so just understanding that whatever your goal is, you got to really do that ego check and make sure, like, although you're qualified to apply for that promotion, or although they came to you saying, hey, we would really love to promote you, we're going to give you an extra $10,000, you got to say, listen, is this something I'm really prepared to do? Because ultimately, if you take it, you have the potential of impacting other people's lives in a negative way if it's not something that you really feel that you can produce, that you're really going to be available to train and to lead.
Or you want to do.
Yeah, because, I mean, like, I get it. Some days you just like, I don't want to be bothered. But you're in leadership. Yeah. So, you know, you can't complain about something you asked for, something you applied for, something you prayed for. So it's okay to say, listen, I'm cool where I'm at.
I done that. I mean, it's been shocking to people, but I done that. Like when I was in corporate? Yeah, I was in one of the big, large banks, and they offered me a supervisor position. I was a team lead, and I said, yeah, no. Because what they were offering me didn't match what I believed, one, that I deserve, and two, the responsibilities for what's to come was too much. Yeah. I said, I really love this one. Like, you know, you should go with somebody else, because I love what I do. And I love the coaching aspect. I don't have to fire people. I really love this aspect of being in the middle, right?
Yeah.
But they hired somebody, didn't work out, they came back. And I was like, yeah, so see, what you offer is still not good. So, you know, it's up to you. And I really remember the manager was real mad at me. Like, how dare you not just excited that we came to you? No, I'm not. And this is what this is my requirements. You have yours, and you telling me this is what I have to give you. This is what you need to give me. And if we don't agree, then leave me where I am, and I'm happy here. And I'm going to be the best team lead you ever going to have, right? So it's really like where you are. You have to evaluate what are you willing to do.
Yeah.
What are you capable of doing, right? And where you are in your life, because there's seasons.
Yeah.
If you're in a season where you don't have a lot of responsibilities out here, and you could give more, then this is a great season to grow and do things. But if you have a lot going on and you're not going to give that job or that business the attention and the need that it needs, you know, then you're doing a disservice to everybody, to be honest. Like,
absolutely.
It's hard.
Because we all can think of a time where we were under a management of a person that was just terrible.
Horrible.
And you just like, I remember as a couple different jobs where I'm just like, this guy or this
how are you still here? Like, you're looking at the whole company like, how is this person still here?
And they used to think like these people, because they, you know, some folks depending, and that's why it's really important to not just to see who your immediate management is, it's like who's at the head, right? Presidents of companies, presidents of boards, the top of the top is so critically important to evaluate the culture and climate of a corporation, or even if you own your own business and you are that person, because whoever that person is and what's a core value and what's a priority to them, that trickles within an entire organization. So if that person doesn't care or is not a people person, if that person does not have healthy, you know, boundaries, unethical, just that is going to be the first line of folks that person hires. And then it becomes like this branch of other people who are replicas of who's on top. So that's why as a leader, whether you're running your own organization or you are, you know, serving in a different capacity, or you are in management or considering management.
Or in government,
even your household. Your house, just start baseline. If you're like, I don't have none of that. How are you showing up in your household
for you
every
and your cat?
Single day?
If it's just you and your cat, or just you.
Yeah, because ultimately that does have a ripple effect. I can always tell just when I meet the person that's in charge, I know what I'm dealing with. Because if you are the type of person that truly cares about folks, you're ethical, you're, you know, all of these things, then as even as a leader and a manager, that's what I'm looking for in the people that I'm hiring. That's what I'm looking for in the people that I'm, you know, onboarding for a committee or so on and so forth. And if I get any inkling that that's not who you are at your core, then we are not going to be able to do business together. We've ended partnerships.
We have
in years past because that part, you know, just because people want to partner with you, you have a choice to say no.
Absolutely.
And we have had to say no. And when we went against our gut in saying no,
it came back.
Because there's a specific partnership. we walked in the parking lot and I told Maylin, I said, it's a no for me. But we went through with it. Maylin had a valid point at the time. Like,
it served someone.
Yeah. We were able to learn a lot. We grew a lot from that experience. But I knew the moment that I met this person that this was going to be, I said, Maylin, let's just walk away from this partnership.
Yeah, but you know, my good lucky positivity at the time was really high and my intuition was not as heightened as it is today.
And sure enough, this person was a complete nightmare.
Like 2 years later, right? Like, it wasn't even right away. I mean, it was a nightmare.
No, it was a nightmare day one, but it lingered for 2 years.
It flourished into fully horrible into 2 years later.
And finally, we were able to say, listen, this partnership is not fruitful. It's not going to work out.
Let's agree to disagree.
Yeah.
Blessings.
Yeah, and that was it. Because so I think it's really, really, really critically important for you to evaluate who's in leadership, who you will be reporting to, who are you hiring? Because all of that is interconnected, and that's really truly how you become an authentic leader, how you authentically serve. Because you can't authentically be, this mindful, like all the things that you ideally want to be if you're in a work environment that doesn't care about that doesn't prioritize that. And so I think it's just critically important to evaluate those things. Not saying quit your job tomorrow, but create an exit strategy.
Absolutely. For the love of God.
Yeah.
Yes.
Create an exit strategy. Recognize, listen, I'm not happy here and it's because of these things. Let me go and find a work culture, or let me start a company, or let me expand my company with these specific core values in mind. Because ultimately, like, to me, if I had to go work somewhere, That's a big part of why I left a lot of jobs in years past, was because the work culture was so terrible.
And it's by the managers. Because I'm like, how are we in the same place and this is toxic, but this is not.
So toxic.
And it's all the managers, like when you think about it. And I think for people, if you're in a place, you have a couple opportunities. There's things that you can control and things you cannot control. If there's something happening in your work environment, a specific area, you can actually reach out to the person, right? See if they're approachable. You can try to talk to the CEO, see if they're approachable, because maybe that manager needs to let go, right? They need to be gone. But if you do your part and you're like, listen, I'm loyal, like I'm trying to do this, I believe in the mission, I'm trying to do this, but the people you're talking to they're not responsive. They're like that part two. They're ignoring you, they're in denial. They think you're the problem because you're trying to then at that point, you just have to let them go.
Yeah.
And you don't let them go if you're having something right. You either have your savings ready so it can sustain you for a couple months until you find something better. You look for something better because you're really good and you can find something at peace when you have something.
Absolutely.
Because when you have the secure check and then you go and find something else, whether they let you go because they now they see you as a threat, so they're letting you go, or you decide, I cannot take it. You can walk away that same day, but you already have something lined up or you have your savings to go. So I think as you're making the exit strategy, which we love so much, it's important for you to have a plan.
Yeah.
If you have an idea, you want to start something, you don't have to leave your job to start your idea. Maybe you want to support women. Maybe you start a women chat, at the Femergy Center, where you can come here, you can host it here, or at the library or somewhere in your area, and you can just start meeting with women and see if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Before you leave your job. Like that is how we started. I was working, I always been working in different places. I was off for 2 years of the workplace. And my last advice for now, come to the class that Christina is doing, because I think it's gonna be amazing, is like when you find something that you want to do. One of the mistakes I made, and I know that it helped me because I met really great people, but I feel like I had my hands in too many pots. And because I had my energy and my hands in so many pots divided, I couldn't give it a fully what we needed to give it to one piece, right? So, and it's not a regret, it's an acknowledgement of what happened. But when I hear now, I listen to a lot of podcasts and things, and they say like really double down or focus on something. There's a reason why they say that. If I could go back and do anything different, would be to support certain things without getting so involved that it distracted me from the main focus at hand. So now going forward and where we are is kind of like, that's why you say I'm not in a lot of things. I chose not to be because I realize and recognize that I have two things. One thing I'm really passionate about, and it's my work, and I love what I do, and it's helpful. And then also Femergy, like these two things are the only thing I can give. And the most important thing, my baby. I don't have time or capacity for anything else, to be honest. I really don't.
Yeah.
And when people say be on a board, I cannot. I'm trying to manage my board. You know, come and do this. Let me make a donation because I'm not going to give you the time and the thing that you need because I'm trying to build, I'm trying to create something. Right. And raise a baby now. So I don't have the capacity I had before. And I know that my focus is somewhere else, and it's super simple now for me. Like it's clear, like it's never been before. Like this is it, and this is where it needs to go into focus.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Well, hopefully you gained some nuggets in this lesson. Certainly there will be future opportunities to kind of brainstorm, brain dump with us. So be on the lookout for more information as we are building out what that looks like. And if you didn't know, Maylin and I also have a consulting firm called True Print for Business, which as obviously True Print for Life is an extension of that, which is definitely coaching, consulting services. So if you're interested in that, please feel free. You can actually go to the Femergy, www.femergy.org, and there is a tab on the website for True Print. And you can fill out the inquiry form, and that'll get kicked over to us for a discovery call. And so certainly, you are not alone in this journey of trying to figure out what's next, whether it be for your own business or your just your vision for your career pathway. And so, as we always say here at Femergy, it's bigger than you.
Thank you so much for listening today. We're excited and we hope that you follow us on
Instagram, True Print for Life, YouTube channel, also True Print for Life. And make sure that you share, like, watch our videos. Make sure that you follow us on all streaming platforms.